This is the updated version of the Hyundai i30 Sedan. It sees some big changes, this model, including the addition of a hybrid powertrain. And there's also new technology and a new transmission in the entry-level version. So there's a lot to cover. Please do like and subscribe, and let's get to it. Do you remember years ago when you used to see your friends update their status on Facebook to say it's complicated? Well, it's kind of complicated when it comes to the i30 Sedan lineup in Australia because there are 5 different takes on this car, 3 different powertrains as well. So look, there's a lot going on when it comes to this model range. And also, just to complicate things, there's only the petrol 2-litre available right now. The hybrid models are coming in 2024, and so are the N Line turbocharged versions. So look, I'll try and cover those in a bit more detail when I get a chance to drive them, but this focuses mainly on the petrol engine in this i30 Sedan update, which has seen some changes as well. But let me run you through some of the model specifications in this lineup. So at the start point is the i30 Sedan. It's just called i30 now. It's not called Active anymore. And you'll see the pricing on your screen now. And they have confirmed the pricing for the hybrid entry point to that. It's $33,000, so about the same sort of price as what you would pay if you were buying a Toyota Corolla hybrid entry-level sedan. And look, I reckon it does come pretty well equipped for the money. You do get 16-inch alloy wheels, LED headlights and daytime running lights, cloth trim on the inside, an 8-inch touchscreen media system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a few other nice features besides all that. And if you step up to the elite grade model, which is the mid-spec version, you do get a few features that are also featured on this one here, the premium, including the same 17-inch alloy wheels. You also get the same twin 10.25-inch screens on the inside, so you've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connected via USB in there, as well as sat nav, and you've also got a big digital driver info screen too. Different interior trim, and look, it does feel a bit more upmarket and look a little bit more upmarket as well compared to the base model. And then if you choose this one here, which is the premium, as I mentioned, it does have a few extra features beyond that. So you get projector LED headlights, LED tail lights. You don't get LED tail lights on the base grades, which is a bit weird. You also get a tilt and slide sunroof. You also get leather interior trim. There's electric driver's seat adjustment with memory settings. There's also heating and cooling for the front seats as well. And look, it does feel like a pretty well-equipped little vehicle for the cash. And when it comes to the N Line models, well, I'll do a review of them later on, but they obviously upgrade the experience with a bit more of a sporty look, a bit of a sporty engine and transmission. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a sec. But it's also basically a mirror for what you would get in the elite or the premium versions of this car. So look, as I mentioned, it's complicated, but if it's all too much, what alternatives could you be looking at instead? When it comes to alternatives to this car, there are some standout offerings in the mix. So firstly, Toyota Corolla Sedan. It comes available with hybrid powertrains, and also it now comes with a ZR top spec hybrid sedan version. And I reckon it looks fantastic. It offers, well, to me, a little bit more wow factor in terms of the drive experience and also the interior. But hey, tell me what you reckon. Would you choose it or this, or would you have a look at some of the other options that I'm about to tell you about? Firstly, the Mazda 3 sedan. I reckon it offers a stunning looking car. Inside, it's pretty classy feeling as well. There's a bunch of different variants available, but if you want hybrid, you can't get one in a Mazda 3. So that might rule it out for you, and I could completely understand that. The final alternative I reckon you should check out is the Kia Cerato. Now, it comes available as a hatchback or a sedan, just like the i30, although those two models are a lot closer than the i30 sedan and hatchback. But I reckon the sedan really does make a lot of sense, provided that you don't need hybrid. Again, it's one of those ones that comes only with petrol powertrains available, but there is a punchy 1.6 turbo, the same one that you see in the N Line version of this. So, hey, it does have a fair few options available, and it's pretty cheap too, so it might be worth a look for you. But tell me which one you would pick in the comments section below. This has to be the biggest small car on the market. It's more than 4.7 meters long, so it's bigger than some mid-sized SUVs. In fact, plenty of mid-sized SUVs. So look, I don't know why they call it small. It's really not, but I want to show you something that I'm not as impressed as I would hope I would be from a Hyundai at least. So the shut lines on this bonnet are wonky as. All of that is a bit out of whack and it doesn't look very good. Same sort of story on this side as well. And yes, I did check to see if the bonnet was shut properly. It is. It's just, yeah, not the greatest sort of finish, I don't think. Now, when it comes to the size of this car, as I mentioned, it's huge. There's a massive wheelbase as well. And I'll show you the back seat practicality in a sec. But first, I want to show you this new lighting design at the back. So you've got this H insignia in the LED lights. But remember, you only get LEDs on this higher grade version, which is a bit weird. All right. Let's check out the boot space and see if it's big enough. So this car has this really handy trick that if you've been away from the car for a while, you've got the key in your pocket, it will beep, 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 and then open the boot automatically for you. It's really handy. It's not an electric boot though. I haven't been far enough away from the car for a while, so it doesn't realize that I've been away from the car. But anyway, the boot space in here is very, very handy. You'll see on screen the figure for the boot capacity, and it is definitely big enough to fit a pram, some luggage, a mixture of the two, or some golf bags. I know that a lot of Southeast Asian brands really prioritize golf bag size when it comes to boot space. It's a nice, decent size opening as well, so you won't have to pull your pram apart to fit it in, which is really good to see. And also, when it comes to spare wheel stuff, if you buy a petrol version with a 2-litre engine, you get a full-size spare wheel. But if you choose one of the other models, a hybrid or an N Line, it's a space saver under the boot floor. So that might make your decision for you if you're the sort of person who's prone to punctures. But either way, this is a pretty sizable boot. I will just say though, you have to keep in mind that these gooseneck hinges do eat into the space a little bit, as you can see. And you've also got these pull tabs here so you can lower the back seats down if you need to. Pretty handy stuff. So this is the premium version of this car, and I reckon it does feel pretty plush in here. I like the seat trim, like the fact that you've got heated and cooled front seats in this grade, electric adjustment for the driver with memory settings, as I've already said, and it does feel pretty primo when you sit into this car, although it's very much a black fest in here. Like there's lots of black plastic and black upon black upon black. It's a little bit unimaginative, I would say. Look, maybe the N Line versions will have a little bit more character to the interior, but for some people it might just be a bit plain. And I'm sure that the entry-level versions are going to feel even more plain. But hey, look, the thing about this car is that it does have some really clever elements to the cabin. So you've got some nice features, including these twin screens. I like that they are easy to get to terms with. I like the fact that you've got buttons down below, and I'm sure that you will too, so you can quickly jump between things rather than having to siphon through the menus, because there are a lot of menus upon menus in these new generation models. There's also a big volume knob there, which is good. You've got volume controls on the steering wheel as well, so that's nice. And also, you've got a bank of buttons down below for your climate control, so no mucking about through the screen to do those sorts of simple adjustments like turning the fan speed up or turning the temperature up or whatever it may be, heating and cooling for the front seats. There's also a heated steering wheel in this spec too, so there's a button for that, thankfully. Nice to see. Now, in front of the shifter here, which you can't really see because of this weird grab handle thing, there's a wireless phone charger down there, a little storage tray, a couple of USB ports, and in here you've got a couple of huge cup holders with this kind of handy thing. So if you put it up that way, you've got much bigger cup holders. If you turn it around, you get a slightly higher set. So that means if you've got a short coffee, that might be a better set for you, but they're still very large circular cup holders, and they don't have those little levers that pinch in at the sides like some other cars. So I guess you're going to have to buy a big gulp instead. Now, there's a covered center console bin here, bottle holders in the doors, and look, all the controls, as I mentioned, are very easy to get to terms with. I like the material finishes, and it just feels, yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice. Let's check out the second row. So the back seat of the i30 Sedan. Look, this is very, very spacious. For anyone who's thinking that this might be a little bit too small for them, no, this is pretty good. The only issue is primarily foot space. I mean, you've still got plenty. I've got pretty big feet and I've got enough space here. This seat's set for me at 182 centimeters or 6 foot. Knee room's good. Headroom's pretty good too. Just watch your head getting in and out. If you're a taller person, you might find that. And if you do lean back, you can sort of bump your head a little bit. But I think for the most part, it is a pretty accommodating second row setup. You've got directional air vents, as you would expect. You've got a couple of USB-C ports down there too. One map pocket, it's like one of those mesh ones, which I don't love, but at least there's a pocket there. So it's also got those hard kick plates on the seat backs, which is good because if you've got youngsters, you'll know that they can kick and kick and kick just for the fun of it. But at least they won't damage anything if they are doing it. At least, well, they'll damage some plastic, but who cares? Right, so when it comes to kids stuff, you do have ISOFIX points in the window seats. You've also got 3 top tether points in the back too. And you can fit a couple of adults back here really comfortably. You'd fit 3 in here if you needed to too. There's just a little bit of a transmission tunnel intrusion to contend with, but it's hardly worth worrying about. You've also got a pair of cup holders in here, fold down armrest, and bottle holders in the doors. So, I forgot to mention, you also get ambient LED lighting in the cabin of this spec, which looks really good at nighttime. What doesn't look as good at night is these halogen lights, which look a bit old school and a bit dull as well. And also, if you are trying to secure a child or a child's seat in at nighttime, the positioning of that is not as good as some other cars where you have lights in the edges, but I'm sure it's not going to be a deal breaker for you. I'll just also add that the armrests in the back are hard plastic. It's not very pleasant. Under the bonnet of the i30 Sedan, you've got a choice of 3 different powertrains. This one is the entry-level version. It's a 2-litre non-turbocharged petrol engine. The big change for this updated version of the i30 Sedan is that instead of the old clumsy 6-speed automatic transmission, you now get a CVT auto as part of this mix, and it does make for smoother progress in a lot of situations, which I'll show you in the driving section. Now, there's also a 1.6 litre turbocharged petrol engine in the N Line versions of this car. And look, I haven't driven it yet, so I imagine that it's going to be much like the existing version. And it was, well, a lot of fun. A little bit jerky around town with that 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll get a chance to do a review of that one later on as well. And then there's the hybrid powertrain, which, well, you'll see the details on your screen now. It combines a whole bunch of stuff, a petrol motor, electric motor, battery pack, all combined to offer pretty decent power and torque figures, but it uses a 6-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. So I wonder what that'll be like to drive too. Stay tuned and you'll see the review of that later on. For your benefit, dear viewer, I've already taken the liberty of turning off the speed sign recognition system in this car, which I do every single time I drive it because it's got a camera system that reads the speed signs, it gets it wrong a lot of the time, and it beeps and bongs all the time at you. So if the speed sign changes or if you're going over the speed limit, it will bing, bing, bing at you, and it's just really frustrating. Also, I don't know where you live, but in my area there are about 1 million different speed limits around, including a few that have variable speeds for trucks and cars, so it can get it wrong a lot of the time, and it's not very good technology. Okay, so I've got that off my chest. I've also turned off the lane keeping assist system in this car, because while it is pretty good, it does just annoy me. You might find it fine though. It's also got active lane centering, this car. So on the freeway, you might find that if you just want to put it into that mode and take your mind off things a little bit, that can be helpful, although it just still has that tendency to ping pong a little bit in its lane. So what about the rest of the drive experience? Well, I think that it does have a nice balance between being comfortable and very user-friendly and also very passenger-friendly, and still offering enough enjoyment to the driver to make it, well, not boring, which is good. I don't think that it's a thrill machine, but this one isn't supposed to be. This is the entry-level engine, at least. Now let's talk about the engine and transmission. So in the existing versions of this car that had the 6-speed automatic, I thought that it felt gutless, it felt dull, and it felt unlikable. Whereas in this, Well, a CVT transmission does make a difference. So if you're unaware, the difference there is that a CVT will basically just rev harder when you need more grunt, as opposed to changing gears in order to, you know, step up a gear or down a gear if you need more power. So it's not going to be to all tastes, but I will say that on the usual drive that I do, this has performed much more likably than the last version of this car did, because on this steep hill where it used to have to go between 6th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, like that, this just sort of revs and got up there without as much fuss. It's a bit noisy, but at least it's not fussy. And I also think that there's some really nice elements to this car that aren't fussy. The suspension is really well sorted. It has a nice controlled ride to it. It's cushy but not too squishy. It just balances itself really nicely over bumpy sections of road. And yeah, I think that it does have a really nice balance between, like I said, comfort and not being boring. So yeah, I think it's pretty fun. Steering's all right too. Has a decent amount of weight to it. And look, there are different drive modes you can choose from. If you want to put it into sport mode, then I'll do that now. Not really sporty, but at least it's a little bit more zesty, and you get a little bit more weight to the steering as well. But like I said, there's an N Line version with a turbo engine. There'll also be a new i30 Sedan N. So yeah, that might be worth waiting for if you are the sort of person who likes to go for a drive just for the sake of going for a drive. I've just driven onto the freeway, and look, if there's one thing this car could do better, it's road noise intrusion. It is a bit loud in here. I find myself raising my voice, even though I probably don't need to because I've got a microphone on, but it's just a natural reaction when you do drive on surfaces like we have all over Australia. This is just a coarse chip road. It's the M4 motorway on the way into Sydney, and yeah, it can be loud in here. You also get a little bit of wind noise intrusion. Sort of sounds like it's coming in around the top of the pillar. So again, not the most serene drive experience. I mean, this is a $40,000 or so sedan. So that might be something you want to keep in mind if you are conscious of sound intrusion in your car. Rightio, I'm going to battle the noise for a little bit and tell you about the efficiency figures for this car. So on your screen, you'll see the official combined cycle figure for the 2-litre CVT versions of this car. And I reckon that's pretty good. Just for context, I haven't seen quite that good on my test. You'll see the figure on your screen now that I saw, but also I don't think that's a deal breaker. I reckon that's okay. And then there's the hybrid versions, which, as you would expect, are super duper efficient. The official number is eye-wateringly low, very, very close to what you get in the Corolla hybrid sedan as well. And look, we haven't got the official numbers for the turbocharged N Line versions of this car just yet, but I'll put the existing model numbers on your screen now. So in my experience in that car, didn't get anywhere near that, but hey, it eggs you on a little bit more. So yeah, not too bad, but that hybrid model really does stand out if you're planning to save money on fuel in the longer run. There are some things you need to know when it comes to the safety stuff for the Hyundai i30 Sedan. This generation model has never been tested by Euro NCAP or ANCAP, so it doesn't have a star rating. If you own a business and you require that, well, it rules it out basically, but it does come pretty well equipped when it comes to standard safety technology. Just keep in mind that you do have to spend more if you want more safety tech. Starting off, you do get autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist, motorcyclist, and junction detection. There's an active lane keeping system. You've also got a few other features like speed sign recognition, which to me makes this a more annoying car to drive because I like to turn it off every single time I drive the car. It beeps and bongs all the time otherwise, and gets it wrong some of the time too. So that might be something you want to keep in mind. There's also adaptive cruise control with stop and go. You've got a reversing camera and front and rear parking sensors as standard on the entry-level version. If you step up to the next model in the range, the Elite, you also get blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, which really seems to me like money well spent. It's a pretty good investment. Plus you also get safe exit assist, so it'll warn you if it's unsafe to get out of the car, maybe there's a car coming from behind or whatever. And the Blue Link connected services, which includes like SOS calling functionality for the car. So if you're in a crash, it will call emergency services for you if the airbags are deployed. And then if you choose this grade, the premium or the premium version of the N Line model, you get a few features that really do add a lot of value. A surround view camera system, you also get blind spot view monitor, so that's a little screen display that shows up what's in your blind spot using the cameras in the sides of the car. And you also get rear autonomous emergency braking in that top spec version. So look, tell me what you think. Have Hyundai missed it a little bit with this safety spec on this car? Hyundai Australia offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and look, there's a really good plan when it comes to ownership of this car. So you've got the choice of either prepaid servicing plans for either 3 years, 4 years and 5 years. You'll see the pricing on your screen now. Or if you wish, you can pay as you go and just service it as it is required. There's a cap price servicing plan for the life of this car, so you can look ahead to, I don't know, 15 years down the track and see what it's going to cost you to maintain it then. You can do that on their website. And if you do maintain your car with Hyundai, you also get lifetime roadside assistance, which is really, really good. So it seems like a pretty good deal, right? Except for the servicing intervals. So you get 12-month 15,000 K intervals on this version, the 2-litre engine, or the hybrid version. And if you choose the turbo models, well, it's 12 months, 10,000 Ks. So it does work out to be a little bit annoying, but even so, it does seem pretty good to own. The Hyundai i30 Sedan is definitely one you should consider if this is the kind of car that you are after. The updated version does see some important changes, and I can't wait to bring you more review coverage on this car, including a review of the hybrid and the N Line versions, if that's what you want. Tell me if it is in the comments section below. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.